We'll call the regular meeting of September 6, 2022 to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Here.
Ms. Hayes, Mr. Horvath,
Here.
Mrs. Sensi,
Here.
and Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we do not have anyone registered for public participation today, and we do not have any board member reports, so I'm going to turn it over to Angela for our special recognition.
This is a great night, and I'm very excited to be here. This has been, I think, at least 9-10 months in the making when Mrs. Hudson first approached me about doing something about the curtains, and I said, okay, let's see what you can do. And Joe took, the bull by the horn and got it done with her committee. So we are recognizing a whole group of people tonight for this work behind us. And what I'd like us to do is we have a resolution for each individual member that is listed in the resolution, and then the Madison Bingo Boosters. And I think I've got everybody's name to who to recognize there. They get one resolution. And then what we'd like you to do is come up, get your resolution, and then we're going to take a picture with the board and the committee behind us to honor anybody. And if we miss somebody, I am sorry. I know a lot of people went into working on this project from the beginning. They did all sorts of things to raise funds. I remember at the Christmas concert or winter concert, it was over $900 was raised that night alone. And we've done a variety of things. So it's a very exciting evening. So first, we want to recognize the resolution, and I am going to read this one in whole because I think it's very important what's in it. Whereas Joe Hudson, Kirsten Wood, Marcy Hudson, Carrie Stevens, Chloe Kurian, Sally Rogus, Jean Sensi, and the Madison Bingo Boosters organized a fundraiser and collected donations for new stage curtains at Madison High School. Whereas the stage curtain fundraising team worked tirelessly and gave of their own time and talents to bring this project to completion, and whereas the team raised a total of $33,230.47 for the replacement of Madison High School stage curtains, now therefore be it resolved that the Madison Local Board of Education expresses its thanks to Joe Hudson, Kirsten Wood, Marcy Hudson, Carrie Stevens, Chloe Kurian, Sally Rogus, Jean Sensi, and Madison Bingo Boosters. And be it further resolved that a copy of the signed resolution be presented to the stage curtain fundraising team. And of course you have to move first and second, and then I'll introduce the bingo people too.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, and in the discussion, we have Brad Pitzer, who is the president of bingo, Marge Hanlon Kurilik, who has many alumni that have gone through this school, and a true bingo, she promotes bingo across the way, Bonnie Rohrbar, who's been there since forever, and Joanna Eckert. When I was an assistant principal, I think most of these people were all involved here at the high school on Monday nights, and they're still doing it. And without them, we couldn't do so many good things for kids. So I truly appreciate it. And Kirsten Wood, yeah, she's right there, but she's in the resolution too, but she's right there on Monday nights too.
All right, roll call.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, so do any of the board members have anything they want to say before we call them up?
Well, we certainly appreciate this. I was shocked that you were able to raise that kind of money that quickly. We'd like to talk to you after the meeting on a number of projects, but it was really nice to see the community come together and be able to do this. And, you know, this is something that we can push out to, you know, people in the community so they can actually see, you know, something that we were able to do positively, and it was all the committee. So thank you very much.
Oh, and I do want to also recognize Marcy Hudson, because I think we got that sign hung right after COVID. It was during COVID, I think, our alma mater sign. So I don't think we even had a graduation here since that sign was done. But she donated that sign, so I want to, you know, highlight some of the great things that our community members have done.
Pictures.
Ready to call them up?
Ready for
All
pictures?
right. Let's call them up. Joe Hudson. Joe, do you want to say anything? No? Okay. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I don't want to deny them the microphone. And then if you could just come around and stand behind us, we'll get everybody called up and we'll take a picture. Kirsten Wood.
Now I have a face with a name.
Marcy Hudson. Carrie Stevens. Chloe Curian is a recent grad, and she is at Kent State now. So thank you, Chloe. We know you're doing great things at Kent. Sally Rogus, and she was unable to be here due to an illness this evening. Jean Sensi. And our Madison Bingo Boosters. Come on up, group. One resolution, but everybody should be in the picture. Yeah. Is there anybody else that should be in this group picture that did some fundraising? All right. Board, everybody at the table, let's come up and get a picture. Mr. Brady's our official photographer tonight.
Probably, right?
Oh, us.
Brady, can you get everybody in? All right.
I was doing the same thing.
All right, we got to turn it.
Turn it like sideways, like a school picture.
You all are welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but we do understand it is hot in here.
All right, reports and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to recommend the approval of the following then and now certificates: Community Bus Service, Mentor Board of Education, General Pest Control, Rabbit Run, and University Hospitals. These were due to timing errors where the invoice was dated prior to a requisition or a purchase order being put on.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item B on the agenda, I would like to recommend the approve entry into the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. This is a free cooperative purchasing alliance, and this is to get us membership to be able to utilize Vasco for the generous track donation. So,
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item C on the agenda, I'd like to recommend to accept the generous donation from an anonymous donor in the amount of $100,000 for the purpose of making track improvements. We were very grateful to receive that last week.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Angela, did you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yes. I would just like to say thank you to the community member that came forward to help support, make improvements to our track. Now, mind you, this is a 3 to 5 year fix. It's not a total resurfacing, but they're going to fix the cracks. They're going to put down a new top coat, reline our track so that we can have competition on it in the spring. So this is a very generous donation as we look to more permanent solutions for what we're going to do about the track. So we are very, very grateful for this and very excited that we're going to be able to do something.
We're very grateful. As Angela said, I don't recall in my time on the board, which is about 7 years now, getting a $5,000 donation. And at the start of this school year, we got a $27,000 vehicle donated by Classic, and now we have this $100,000 so that we can work on that track repair. So we're off to a good start this year. Still want to talk to the committee afterwards. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item D on the agenda is to establish fund accounts for the following: 007-9823 for the track donation fund, and Fund 007-9824 for the classic car donation.
I'll
This is
move.
just simply putting it on our books. We've already accepted the donations, I just have to have it in our accounting software.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, and finally, item E, I would like to recommend the motion to approve the resolution authorizing the sale and issuance of bond anticipation notes for the purpose of refunding a prior series of bond anticipation notes, the proceeds of which were originally used to acquire energy efficiency improvements for the school district. And I'm not going to read out the whole resolution because this is something that the board has to do annually. It was the energy conservation bond, if you recall. It was issued back in 2011. And this is it's also called the school performance contracting that went on at that time. So every year we have to go through the process to renew the bond. So this is what this resolution is indicative of.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Does that conclude your section?
It does, thank you.
Thank you. Reports to the administrative team?
I'll be brief this evening. I just have a couple things. First of all, since we've last gathered, which was the very first day of school for staff, we have now been in school. We're going to end our third full week this week, and it's kind of exciting that our all-day kindergarten has fallen into place. The students are getting into their routines, and doing well, and it's exciting to see. The other thing I do want to talk about is the car raffle. We have a goal of selling 10,000 tickets. Since our last meeting, Classic Chevrolet has donated, and I've put it in all the updates, and we've been at football games, but just to go through it for the community, has donated a Chevy Equinox with the Chevy Network dealers valued over $27,000. Our goal is to sell 10,000 tickets by the time of the home basketball game on December 13th, which would raise us over $100,000 to help make improvements to the athletic complex. So that is our goal. We have sold 550 tickets so far. As of today, right before coming here, the majority of those tickets have been online through Hometown Ticketing, but we have sold through some events, and we have people that are asking of how to get their hands on tickets, and we are finalizing how to get them out in different aspects of the community. We're hoping to have a table at Septemberfest this weekend. I'm going to have to, call. I know they still had places for vendors, so that's a goal. I just talked to Mr. Pitzer, and they're looking to be able to sell at bingo. So we're going to have some opportunities to push tickets to diverse audiences so that we can make some of those improvements. But we appreciate the community support and rallying around trying to help our schools, especially in different and diverse ways, because that's one of the things the community has said to us. Find other funding sources and avenues to raise funds. So that's what we're trying to do. And so my report is very brief, and again, I just want to thank the Curtin Committee because this is beautiful, and that's why we wanted to be here tonight to showcase the work behind us, because those curtains look absolutely gorgeous. You all should be very proud. Mr. Bull?
I have no report this evening.
Mrs. Grimes?
No report.
I guess I do have one other thing that I'll put a plea out there because I did put it in my update. We are continually looking for substitute teachers. I know CBS is looking for substitute bus drivers. We need substitute cafeteria workers and substitute custodians as well as aides. So if you know anybody that might be interested in earning a little extra money before the holiday season and just doing casual work, contact Dave Bull at the Madison Board of Education because we are in need. We're doing all right so far, but as illness spikes, we need to have teachers to cover. All right, then if that's it on the reports, I'll move into my recommendations. On the personnel motion this evening, we're asking you to accept the resignation of Amanda Simsick, educational assistant, cafeteria at Madison Middle School, effective August 30th, 2022. We're asking you to enter into the following employment contracts. To approve a change in placement on the teacher's salary schedule pursuant to the negotiated agreement and subject to verification by receipt of official transcript by September 15th. That would be Michelle Raplogel and Eric Toulouse. To employ Lauren Ledwick under a one-year limited contract as a special needs assistant at Madison Pre-K. To employ Jessica Elliott under a one-year limited contract as a half-time special needs assistant at Madison Pre-K. The following persons, each under a one-year limited contract as preschool assistant at the hourly rate of compensation listed below, per the preschool scheduled days, Darlene Mahelli and Christy Diaz. Each of the following substitute teachers is approved by the Educational Service Center of the Western Reserve and/or Madison Local School District. April Colucci and ending with Amy Slack. To employ the following as building substitutes, Pam Grinstead and Carrie Magda. The following persons as casual day-to-day substitutes, beginning with Christy Diaz and ending with Jennifer Watt. To employ Alexandra Tomlinson as an educational assistant playground at South Elementary. To employ Amanda Haruska as educational assistant playground at North Elementary. The following certificated personnel under a one-year limited supplemental contract for the 22-23 school year. beginning with Tom Hupertz, MHS Academic Challenge Co-Advisor, and ending with Jennifer Calhoun, Vocal Music Director. The following non-certificated persons under a one-year limited personal service contract for the 2022-23 school year. Beginning with Steve Couch, MHS Drama Advisor, Spring Musical, and ending with Emily Daniels, MHS Senior Class Advisor. And we're asking you then to approve the following transfers. Transfer Carrie Blay from a 3-hour position as Educational Assistant Playground at South Elementary School to a 6.25-hour position as a Special Needs Assistant at South Elementary School, effective August 22nd, 2022. To transfer Tara Ludwig from a 3-hour position as an Educational Assistant Cafeteria at North Elementary School to a 6.5-hour position as a Special Needs Assistant Autism at North Elementary School, effective August 16th, 2022. To transfer Christine Kiesler from a 3-hour position as an Educational Assistant Playground at North Elementary School to a 6.5-hour position as a Special Needs Assistant at North Elementary School, effective August 16th, 2022. To transfer Jenny Pahazzi from 6.25-hour Educational Assistant Autism at South Elementary to a 6.5-hour Special Needs Assistant at South Elementary School, effective August 16th, 2022. And to transfer Katie White from a 7-hour Special Needs Assistant ED at Madison High School to a 6.5-hour Special Needs Assistant ED at Madison Middle School, effective August 16th, 2022.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? It's us. Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes.
On the consent calendar this evening, we have several agreements. To enter into an agreement between Madison Local School District and Wood County Educational Service Center to provide residential treatment for Madison Local School students as found on file in the board office. To approve the contract between the Madison Local School District and Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio for audiology and/or hearing impaired services for the 2020, I think that would be the 2022-23 school year. Let me correct that. To enter into a shared services agreement between Madison Local School District and Perry Local School District to provide EMIS consulting training services for the 2022-23 school year at a cost of $5,000 that's found on file in the board office. To approve the contract between Madison Local School District and the ESC of Northeast Ohio, Crossroads Health, for the education and support for students served outside the Madison Local School District. To enter into a consultant services contract between the Madison Local School District and Mary Ellen Fesser to provide trauma behavioral specialist services for the 2022-23 school year at a cost not to exceed $30,000 for up to 54 days. To enter into a contract with Community Bus Service to provide student transportation services for a one-year period beginning July 1st, 2022. And to enter into an agreement between the Madison Local School District and the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio to serve as the fiscal agent for Title III language instruction for the English Learners Grant Consortium for the 22-23 school year.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
and Mr. Douglas.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So we are going to need to move into executive session. If I could have a motion to move into executive session for
I'll
the
move.
I'll
pur-
second.
for the purpose of the appointment,
Sorry.
employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or regulated individuals, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee or regulated individual unless such person requests a public hearing.
Now I'll move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
and Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We do not plan to conduct any business. When we return from executive session, we would simply end the meeting. So we stand in recess.